Hi guys, it's Aurora with Goddess Gatherings, and it's been a while. Today is like a nice little rainy evening, and I'm just really digging the idea of a rainy day message. So this reading is going to be very uplifting, right? I want you to save this for a time when maybe you are struggling, when you're having some difficulty, and you just kind of need a positive message to keep you going forward. So if you're having a good time right now, I want to invite you to watch a different video, maybe a past video. I have some saved under a kind of timeless playlist. But if today is that day, if you are struggling a little bit, I'm sorry to hear it, but I've got some uplifting news coming your way. So let's get right to it. We're going to start with some oracle cards to find out what is it that we need to know. How can things get better? How are things going to get better? That's a good question. How are things going to get better? One last little shuffle. How are things going to get better? Okay. Growth in reverse specifically. Okay. And then let's see what else. Death in reverse. And isolation in reverse. Okay. So this is interesting. So with some oracle decks, I will read them upside down. Other oracle decks, I won't read them upside down. This one, I will. So it seems like just with these cards, the way that things are going to get better is with some inward growth reflecting death and isolation, right? So I feel like what's happening here is you are going through a death of some sort. I don't think that it is like a physical death, but I know, oddly enough, I know a lot of people that have passed within the past month and a half. And maybe that's hurting. Maybe that's causing you to feel a little bit more isolated. But truly, what I feel a little bit more called to is maybe a death as in a aspect of your life, a part of your life that is no longer there. And as a result, you are feeling a little bit isolated. So having that massive kind of shift in your day-to-day life, having a massive shift in what feels like an era, having that close out in your life can be pretty traumatic, and it can make you feel pretty upset, understandably. Change can be really hard. I know I really personally struggle with change, and I know a lot of my friends and family do as well. So I think what we need to do is we need to get to the root, see what I did there, the root of the issue, and see why are we mourning this aspect of our life? And what is it about that aspect of our life that has now led to that isolation? Okay? So that's what we're going to hop into. I think I'm going to pull some of the tarot cards really quick. And let's start with death, right? Let's ask. I keep having to check to see if these are still in frame, and they are just barely in frame. It's been a while, y'all. A little rusty. So what aspect of our life has died? What part of our life did we leave behind? So you guys have never seen me use this deck. This is the Wildwood Tarot deck. It is very, very Celtic. It's very mysterious. I've had to do a lot of research on like Celtic symbolism and Celtic mysticism to even try to understand some of these cards, because a lot of them are based on animals, and they're just animals that I don't run into in the, Southwest United States. Like a stoat. I did not know what a stoat was until this deck. I never looked into like finches or wrens until this deck. So it's very fun. It's very fun. But it's taken me a while to want to use it in public. So what aspect of our life came to an end? Where is the death? Where is the death in our life? Okay. Okay, the Hooded Man, aka the Hermit in reverse. The Two of Cups. Oh, okay. Yeah, you really... Ooh, okay. And the Seven of Bows in reverse. Okay, so let's start with these guys. So the Hooded Man in reverse. Let's throw it to you right side up. I mentioned wrens, and here one is just a cute little wren. So the hooded man is going to be the hermit. We are going through a phase in our life of what feels like, with it being in reverse, it feels like a forced isolation, right? We have the isolation in reverse, and it feels like we're very resistant to this isolation. We're very resistant to this solitude. But what gets me about the hooded man is that he goes in on his own. He is not forced into isolation. He very gladly goes into it so that he can strengthen his knowledge, so that he can increase the wealth of information that he has so that he can help others. So for it to be forced feels odd. And that brings me to the Two of Vessels, the Two of Cups. Now, I personally see this card as more romantic than the lovers themselves, because look at how passionate they are. Look at how they pour into each other's cups, pour into their own cups. It's very vivacious. We've got a woman symbolized as a horse and a man symbolized as a deer. And this deer is like very important later on in this deck. He's kind of our green man symbolism a little bit. And if we are going forced into this isolation, it is either because our love might not be healthy and we're realizing that, or it's because we're isolating ourselves to find love. I think this third card is going to have the answer for us. So we got the Seven of Bows in reverse, clearance. So bows are going to be fire in this deck. They're going to be your wands. And this one is all about it's pretty straightforward in the name, clearance. It's about clearing the path, and that takes a lot of hard work. And you can see this person, they've created one of their bows. And bows are interesting, right? They are what help the arrow fly. They are the structure and the tension which helps the arrow fly. But bows can only be made out of certain wood, certain material, and it takes a lot of time to whittle them and smooth them so that they can be functioning. And even then, it takes a lot of strength to pull the string on the bow. So despite the fact that this is a fire card, I feel like we're doing a lot of air energy right here. I feel like we are isolating ourselves because we know that there's a lot of inner work that we need to do for our love life, right? I feel like previously we jumped into a relationship without doing this, right? You were avoiding doing this, and it was all fire and no substance. I feel like you two were both fires and you just sucked all the oxygen out of the room. You could not support each other. You could not support yourself. And I'm almost getting the vibe of now you're going into a celibate period, but you're doing it on purpose, but you're not happy about it. Or if you are going into celibacy, if you're not currently going into it, maybe you should. Maybe you should think about it. I feel like it's something that's maybe been on the back of your mind, but you're like, I am a really active, you know what I mean, person, and I don't want to isolate. I don't want to slow my roll. I want to have partners. I want to have fun. I want to, be loved in a sensual way. And, I don't blame you for that, but I'm just not getting the sense that this love here that you have, this physical attraction that you're having to people is healthy, right? I feel like that is a death that you're experiencing right now. I feel like you need to take some time to yourself. I feel like the reason why you came here is because, maybe you're in between partners. Maybe you're in between, either romance or just fun, in between people, and you're kind of finding yourself feeling empty. I don't care what you do. Just be safe, have fun. But I don't think you're happy with the dynamic that you've built right now. Either, your internal dynamic towards love and physical affection, or your dynamic with this other person, right? I think you thought maybe it wouldn't bother you, but now you're turning around and realizing, oh crap, this actually does really bother me. a lot more than I thought it would. And I feel like an imposed celibacy would help you come back to yourself, and it would help you come back to what you truly value in relationships, because it's hard to find it when you are switching partners and getting caught up into their energy. I know for myself, I'm very bad about just like really sucking up like friends, family, partners, sucking up other people's energies and kind of forgetting my own along the way. So I felt like that was a little intense. Also, I am drinking Blue Lotus tea that was gifted to me by a friend. I hope you're not watching this, friend, because I hope that you're not having a bad time. But if you are, thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting my channel. This tea is delicious. I really appreciate the gift. Okay. Now, I'm going to move forward saying that this is a... saying that this is a, self-imposed celibacy. What is it that we're going to find at the end of this? What is it that we're going to find at the end of this journey? Man, I haven't used this deck in so long. I love it. Okay, mourning. 7 of Vessels, mourning. And we've already had the 7 of Wands. Okay. And then we're also going to find our 8 of Bows, the next card. Hearthfire. Okay. This feels like a good starting point for these two. Now, the 7 of Vessels is mourning. The 7 of Vessels is looking at your past and weeping and grieving. But that's okay. You have to let that out. This is really kind of confirming to me that this is definitely about relationships, and this is definitely a period where you are trying to clear through old habits. You're trying to clear through old mechanisms and move forward. And you can't honestly do that until you mourn. Maybe it's situations that you thought would go differently. Maybe it's people who didn't treat you as they should. And I feel like after you go through this mourning period, that's when we're going to come to the hearth fire. That's when we're going to find our inner fire, because I don't think you're rejecting this. The 8 of Bows is very celebratory. It is, what are the right words here? Let me show it to you right side up. It's very celebratory, and it's very, very communal, right? Once you go through this mourning period, that's when you're going to be able to understand what you desire in a partner and in a community, right? Now, this could be a family community. This could be your friend community. This could be your throuple, Monogamy does not work for everybody, but polyamory takes a lot of work that a lot of us, unfortunately, are not willing to do. So no matter who your partner, make sure that you are communicating clearly, and make sure that you are moving from a place of love, and, ask that they do the same. It's how we function as humans. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card. What's on the other side of this? What's on the other side of this death? What's on the other side of this mourning? What is it that we'll find? Okay, the Knight of Vessels. Okay, the Knight of Vessels, the Knight of Cups, is the most romantic of cards. It's very cute. It's very magnetic. It's very electric, if you will. Ha ha ha, see what I did there? Very smooth. He's a smooth criminal. But the Knight of Cups has a big heart, a big, big heart, and is very in tune with their own inner magic. And I'd say that this eel is as well, right? At the end of this journey, you're going to be very in tune with your inner desires. You're going to be very in tune with your heart, very in tune with your intuition, right? So if you're having a hard time right now, know that this death and this isolation, stop fighting the death and start embracing the isolation. Because unless you have that time to yourself, you're not going to figure out what it is that you need, right? It's going to suck at first because you're a social person, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be the issue. But sometimes, you have to take a step away to find out what's important to you. It might be that once you take that step away, you find out that you're actually not a social person, and you were just using, your partners, you were using your friends as a way to escape your sadness, escape what you needed to mourn. So it's definitely the only way through, like the only way through it is to go through it. You know what I mean? Like you can't go around this. You have to go straight to the heart of it. And that's what's going to cause that inner growth. And you're going to be so much happier at the end of this. Wow. Okay. I'm going to ask if there's any advice. Do your guides have any advice for this phase? Hello, that is my little dog, Moosey. He's a border collie. He's great. He's 11. And sometimes he likes to shake his little collar so that I remember that he's there so he can get a little pet. Yeah. Okay. So, piece of advice for this phase. Okay. Okay, the 2 of Arrows. So we finally got our air energy. We've had lots of fire, we've had lots of water, but now we have air to support it. The 2 of Arrows. She looks like Justice, which is really cool because there is a Justice card in the tarot deck. But this is not quite it. So I love this. We've got the weight of a feather against gold. What we have kind of agreed upon as a valuable item, right? To some people, gold is nothing. To some people, gold is everything. And the feather is your mind. So it very much is the classic, the sense of your heart against the weight of a feather, right? Your ego, your, persona that you put on, the values that you show the world versus like innocence, thought, and wisdom. And the way that you're going to get through this is honestly by don't judge yourself. Stop judging yourself. That's honestly what has kept you from moving forward for so long. I often like to say that shame is useless. When people feel ashamed of themselves, they freeze. When people feel judged, they freeze. I have never seen shame help someone move forward. And I need you to stop judging yourself. Right? I need you to stop filling yourself with shame. I need you to look at things in a very impartial manner. I need you to use your wits and your instincts, but not any sort of like shamey kind of judgment. That's what's going to get you through this. Okay? Well, thank you guys for staying. If this resonated, please let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If this felt good and you would like your own personal reading, you can reach me at venusblooms.com. If you would like a monthly email tarot letter, I've got those as well. It's a great way to get a regular tarot reading without having to constantly go to my website. It is $20 a month, and I think that it's fantastic. I've got some people that have been signed up for it for, I think a year and a half. I think I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I have a handful of people who have just been right off the get-go. But